Kingman, Arizona, 1953. A UFO crashes and a non-human body is discovered, allegedly. Now, some new information has come out about the 1953 Kingman, Arizona UFO crash, and we're going to be taking a look at that information, as well as, for context, an older clip from Richard Dolan's podcast talking about the Kingman, Arizona crash as well. So let's dive in, y'all. Checks all the boxes. UFO, crash, non-human bodies. Let's go, y'all. If you're new to the channel and you like content like this, please hit that subscribe button. I put out a new video every day, 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. I do not miss a day, y'all. And please hit that like button, betters. That really helps out the video. So thank y'all so much for the support there. And of course, comment down below. What do you think about this new information for the 1953 Kingman, Arizona UFO crash? Let's go. Got the clips lined up. Again, 2 clips in today's video. And this first clip is the new information. Let's go.
News, a story not from this world. Recently released conversations involving high-level government officials claim a UFO crashed in Kingman back in 1953, and then the aircraft was seized by the Air Force.
Tonight, 12 News journalist Chase Golightly went to Kingman to look into this mystery.
We all know about the Phoenix Lights and other sightings here in Arizona, but this case is different. Now, no government entity has confirmed this and likely never will. But what we learned leaves a lot up to the imagination. At the heart of Kingman, Arizona, Route 66. The famous logo seen everywhere you drive, bringing in countless visitors over the decades. But in May of 1953, a different kind of visitor came here to Kingman, and they didn't take Route 66 to get here. They came from the sky, crashing down in the desert in an aircraft not from this world, according to UFO researchers.
I have heard rumors about it, yes.
A familiar story for those living here.
I've had 2 sightings myself of UFO craft.
Because I want to go with them.
Others think it's just that, a story.
I'm not a believer.
But self-proclaimed experts and researchers on the matter say what makes this crash so different is all the research, witness testimony, and even evidence surrounding it.
The Kingman crash is definitely in the top 5.
Author Preston Dennett is one of those researchers.
There's just a very small handful of UFO crash retrieval reports in the United States that have that kind of verification to them.
So we decided to find that information ourselves. Going to the Mojave Museum of History in Kingman, combing through old newspaper clippings, sketches, and even redacted government documents allegedly detailing the crash from those who were there, including Fritz Werner.
We now know him to be Arthur Stansel.
The documents claim Stansel was an Air Force engineer who studied the impact nuclear blasts had on homes and buildings. He was one of 40 people transported to the crash scene in a bus with blacked out windows so they wouldn't know where they were. They were told this was part of a secret project. When they arrived, the report claims the UFO, measuring 14 feet high and 30 feet in diameter, was made out of unfamiliar metal, plunged about 20 inches into the ground.
And it was his job to basically determine the speed of this object as it came down based upon the gouge it made in the soil. And he estimated it was about 1,200 miles per hour. The craft itself was largely undamaged.
Next to the UFO, the corpse of the so-called pilot, who was described as being about 4 feet tall and wearing a silver metallic suit. Surrounded by military police, the workers conducted their studies in the dead of night. It doesn't say how long they were there, but when they got back on the bus, an Air Force colonel who was in charge of the operation made them take an oath to keep this a secret. 20 years later, Stansel came forward, signing this affidavit, allegedly confirming what he saw. Then 50 years later, another secret about the crash was released by former Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense for Intelligence, Christopher Mellon, between him and a senior United States government member whose name has been redacted, claiming people would be slack-jawed if word got out about what they know, writing the U.S. government seized the Kingman UFO.
These craft are scooped up, taken to various Air Force bases, scientific labs, and studied intently to figure out exactly what we can figure out about how they work.
Despite the reports and witness accounts, we will never truly know if what happened in Kingman that day is true or not.
I don't think our governments are ever going to willingly disclose, really at all.
Dennett believes with more people and former government workers releasing classified information, we are getting closer to answers.
It's certainly movement.
So is there an official statement from the U.S. government about this Kingman crash? I reached out to several of our congressional members and even reached out to the U.S. House Oversight and Accountability Committee, who's actually held hearings on UFOs and aliens. But the spokesperson told me they have no comment on this crash. We're in Phoenix. Chase Golightly, 12 News.
Chase Golightly. What a name, right? That's a news name if you get it. All right, that's interesting. Preston Dennett. I've heard his name mentioned a lot. I'm going to try to reach out and see if I can get an interview with him. So that would be interesting. Yeah, I mean, this is an interesting case. I've heard about it. I've seen little things, this, that, and the other. And the Christopher Mellon stuff they brought up there at the end, I covered that. I made a video. I'll put a link in the description. There's other parts to who that person is. Okay, because they later go on to claim in those same messages, like, these are just things they heard. They're not actually read into any program. So just FYI, because I was a little disappointing because there was more to those messages. But what the gentleman that they revealed, right, that Preston Dennett revealed, that's what's interesting, right? One craft, 20 inches stuck in the ground, right? Pretty much undamaged, and they find a 4-foot non-human body in a silver metallic suit, right? Yeah, very interesting. I gotta say, it's an interesting, crash and event, especially since it's 6 years after Roswell, right? That's also interesting. So, all right, let's go to the next clip. Again, this is Richard Dolan's podcast, and he is interviewing Michael Schratt, and they're going to talk about Kingman. Here we go.
Can I ask you what do you think is the strength of the Kingman, Arizona case in terms of evidence?
The strength is the testimony of Harry Drew, who did a lot of the research, and he talked to Colonel Wendell Stevens, retired, who's no longer with us, and the key deciding factor in this case is a very specific rock structure that Wendell Stevens had talked about because he was allegedly a part of the retrieval operation. And it's a very specific pyramidal rock structure that cannot be missed whatsoever. And Harry Drew spent so much time going through the Kingman, Arizona desert there, and he actually found this pyramidal rock structure, which made it all the more real for Harry Drew. Yes.
So all according to a description left by the late Wendell Stevens.
That is correct. That is correct.
I do know was very much engaged in this, many other cases, of course. I see. Very good.
Yep. Yep. So without that key piece of evidence, we wouldn't have as much firepower to stand on than we do now. So.
Right. I thank you for bringing it to my attention. So, yeah, please describe the Kingman case. It's not well known enough. So what do we have to say about this?
Okay, so let's go on this one. So this is Kingman, Arizona, May 18th, 1953. Now, it's important to note, Richard, in this particular case, it was not a crash landing. This was a forced landing. This thing was 100% intact. And as we mentioned before, sources of information are retired Colonel Wendell Stevens, Harry Drew, Raymond Fowler interviewed the primary eyewitness on this case, who was an atomic bomb scientist by the name of Arthur G. Stanzel, Stansel. He worked at Air Material Command, Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, the Office of Special Studies under Dr. Eric Wang. So that's the primary eyewitness who actually started this whole thing.
Dr. Wang himself is someone I remember speaking to Bill Steinman about, of another very interesting man connected with all of this. And I just want to point out that Ray Fowler, who's still around, is one of the most very like deep thinking, intelligent, knowledgeable UFO researchers we have ever had. And so I think it's significant that you have someone of Ray Fowler's caliber doing this interview. And I've always been inclined to accept Ray's judgments as someone who knows what he's talking about. I mean, technically and in every other way.
Yep, the craft was 30 feet in diameter, 14 feet tall. That's what you see in the drawing that I've put together here. Yeah. It had a series of slots going around the outer circumference of the disc. There was a small entry hatch on the lower portion of the rim, a brushed aluminum surface. It was found to be buried about 20 inches into the sand at about a 15-degree angle of attack. There were 4 humanoid figures found with the craft when the military got there. Now, according to Harry Drew, there was one that was in front of the other 3, who apparently was the quote-unquote commander. And just to go a little bit forward in this story, there was a communication between the high-level military brass and this particular commander. And he said, quote-unquote, "We will go with you only under one condition, that you do not separate us." So that was the communication that was made between members of the retrieval team and also these beings that were, if you look at a 5'10" man, they came up to his shoulder, according to Harry Drew.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
there's no description in these illustrations, unless I'm missing it, of these beings?
No.
Do you have any? Okay.
Only from the testimony from Arthur Stanzel. He said that the eyes were slightly further apart than ours, and they had a pointed chin. That's the description I've got in the report.
But not, so therefore not what we would call the quintessential grays, or even like the description of the beings from the Aztec crash.
More humanoid looking.
Yeah.
More humanoid, but not your typical gray. Certainly not. Right. Certainly not.
Yeah.
Now, Arthur Stanzel, he was an expert in engine test cells. He was responsible for investigating the blast effects on buildings. He was also an expert in aircraft landing gear. And he was on assignment at the Atomic Proving Ground in Nevada during Operation Upshot Knothole. That was spring 1953, is exactly the time frame of the Kingman, Arizona crash.
Right.
So just to move forward here, it's at night. There were 40 scientists that came from Indian Springs Airfield that boarded a bus, which was a GM Model 3301. 40 of them boarded this bus, and they made a very long trip on unimproved dirt roads to the crash site at Kingman. And when they got there, Richard, they found that this craft was embedded into the sand about a 15-degree angle. There were 2 spotlights shining on the craft, which is what you see here in the next illustration.
Mm-hmm.
How much do these illustrations help understand what's going on? Right? Let's be real. Because right, when you just hear the story, you're trying to fill all that in your head, right? All the things to imagine. What time of day is it? What's the weather like? What people wearing? What this? What that? How many? That and this really gives you an idea of what's, what they're trying to tell you, the story they're trying to tell you. You know what I mean? What's interesting is the tents they pitched, right, with the rope and stuff like Looney Tunes style, like tents. Like, I mean, that is, real. They did do that, but that's just interesting. And why would they put spotlights on it? That seems like right? Like you're trying to be like clandestine here. Like, get the spotlights on it. But I mean, you need to see it. But look at this light coming out. It's like a door or something. God, that's so interesting. I realize this is an illustration, but it does look like one of those dioramas, right? Shout out to MUFON. So yeah, it's interesting. All right, let's continue the clip. It's only about a little bit left here.
And that was done by John McNeil, so he gets credit for that. A curved entry hatch, we talked about that before. It was 3.5 feet by 1.5 feet. It had no hinges whatsoever. They also found that they were told that material was classified as far as what this thing was made out of. They were told it was classified. And this is interesting point too that
Oh,
Harry
in
talked
other words,
about.
the material of the craft
The
itself.
material of the craft apparently was classified as far as what it was made out of. How they determined that, I'm not sure, but that's what these scientists were told.
Well,
And
I would just hypothesize that.
What does that even mean?
I mean, it's my own opinion, at least currently, that the material science of these beings is one of the most important things about what we've learned. I mean, their ability to create certain materials.
Wouldn't the whole crash is classified? The whole thing is classified. Everything's classified. Like, what do you mean the material of the UFO is classified? I don't understand why make that distinction. Is basically what I'm getting at. Like, why say that?
Even perhaps more than propulsion itself, their material science could be of unbelievably immense value, and of course it'd be classified.
Well, yeah, of course it's classified, but the whole thing is classified. You know what I mean? The material then becomes classified. They're saying like it got separated. They were able to separate this material and introduce it into reverse engineering, and the material then became classified. If that makes sense. That'd be the only reason you would even bring that up, if that makes sense. I hope I'm making sense here, right? So, that material is now being used somehow, secretly. Anyway, all right, that's basically it. There's more to it. I'll put a link in the description. Kingman, there's a lot of stuff out there. So please, go check it out. It's an interesting case. There's a lot to it. I don't know that much about it. I know a lot of surface level stuff, but I definitely would love to dive further into this case, to be honest with you. This is a good case. It's got it all there. It's kind of under the surface. I'm sure some of you are already commenting, how could you not know about this, Patrick? I know about this, and you should too, because everything I know about, you should know about. Anyway, okay. This is perfect timing. I should have said this at the beginning of the video. Stay tuned to the end for an announcement. So anyway, my video presentation for the Phoenix Lights is going to be coming out this weekend. So stay tuned for that. Phoenix Lights, got a big video coming out about it. Super cool. So anyway, all right, y'all. We'll see you guys on tomorrow's video. Remember, every day's a gift, y'all. Peace.